us. He's in the chat room right now. He's going to give us the inside scoop on this new Secretary of the Treasury. Who is Timothy Geithner? Who is this man they call Timothy Geithner?
Alrighty, and our buddy Chris Markowski, the watchdog on Wall Street. There he is. He's talking to you in the chat room. He's going to be talking to us about this Timothy Geithner guy. Is he uniquely qualified, or is he just...
Well, there is a new Secretary of the Treasury in town. His name is Timothy Geithner, exactly. New sheriff in town, ladies and gentlemen. And his confirmation was not without controversy.
Yeah, but now that he's got the job, we need to find out who he is, why he's the most qualified, and what he's going to be doing to get our economy back on track. Here with all the answers is Mr. Chris Markowski.
It's because he said so. It's because the media said so. That's why he's most qualified.
Right.
We all have to listen up. You know, the guy can't do his taxes the right way, and yet he's our Treasury Secretary. Wonderful.
So who is this guy?
There's no doubt about it. He's a bright guy. He's got a, a substantial background. He's, had great work experience. His resume is just wonderful. But the fact remains, I mean, this is a guy that we're going to be making our checks out to on April 15th. And it's, you write it out to the U.S. Treasury, yet this guy had a difficult time doing his taxes. And, we discussed this again. I'm a big believer that there was ever a great time for tax reform, now would be it. I mean, now's the time you say, listen, this tax code is so difficult that our Treasury Secretary can't understand it. Maybe we should do something about it.
So, and it's either that he couldn't understand it or that he flagrantly did not follow it. And either way, that poses a huge problem. It bothers me when I hear some people saying that this was some sort of partisan opposition. Not at all. People in Obama's cabinet have been passed. Hillary Clinton, it was a very controversial figure among Republicans. She was passed 98-2. But here you have a guy that people understandably have a problem with, someone who has failed either morally or intellectually to follow the very code he is going to enforce. Does that not pose a problem?
There's no doubt. I gave the guy the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm saying. I said, listen, let's just say, it was an honest mistake and he made some mistake on his taxes. But what if we made that same mistake? Would we be, handled in the same manner? Absolutely not. There's no way. You could put us through the rigmarole as far as, your mistakes. You get audited. It's a terrible situation.
So what is his role? How is he going to get the economy back on track at this point? I think a lot of people
because he is the Treasury Department.
A lot of people are wondering, okay, what does the guy do? What is his job now?
Well, unfortunately, people put way too much stock in Treasury secretaries and presidents and all these people that they can, quote-unquote, fix the economy. It's like they're going in and, oh, they got a leaky faucet over there. I'm going to move this pipe around here and fix it. They can't do that. The economy is going to take care of itself over time. He's now going to be in charge because of the original TARP program of $350 billion that's going to be going towards various different banks. He is kind of like the overseer of that situation. Yeah, they can help matters here and there, but the ability to go ahead and fix the problem, no, they can't do that. Neither can the president.
Now, what about the stock market rallying a little bit yesterday?
Well, I can give you my theory on it?
Of course.
Okay, well, there was a complete about-face yesterday as far as Barack Obama was concerned. He had a big meeting with big business leaders, IBM, Medtronic, various different companies out there, and he came out with some free market principles, and he said, these are the people that make America work, this is the things that make America great, and we saw the markets react in a positive way. You go back a couple weeks ago when he gave a speech at George Mason University, he says the government is the way we're going to fix this problem. The market's corrected about 1,000 points to the downside. So I think that the free market principles coming into some of the things that he's saying is a market improvement.
We actually have Mr. Chris Markowski in the chat room right now. Our watchdog on Wall Street is going to be joining us this morning to talk all things financial. And if you have questions for him, you want to go to dailybuzznow.com. And there he is in the chat room. How you doing, buddy?
Well, President Barack Obama's $819 billion stimulus package is headed for the Senate.
It passed the House yesterday, but without any Republican support. Here's what the president had to say.
Now, most of the money that we're investing as part of this plan will get out the door immediately and go directly to job creation, generating or saving 3 to 4 million new jobs. And the vast majority of these jobs will be created in the private sector because, as these CEOs well know, business, not government, is the engine of growth in this country. But even as
so here to give us the lowdown on how the package would affect all of you at home is the watchdog on Wall Street, Mr. Chris Markowski. Welcome back, Chris.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, what do you think of all this?
Well, I'm an equal opportunity offender, so I go after both Democrats and Republicans. And in the case of this stimulus package, I think it's almost a misnomer. I think words mean things. Language is important. Yeah. You're calling something a stimulus package when much of this money is going to take years to get through. We all know how long it takes for projects to get approved and get through. I think the quickest way to get money into people's pockets is through tax cuts. I mean, when we go to our paycheck on Friday and you've got more money, that's instant stimulus. And if your house is on fire, you're not going to write the fire department a letter. Okay, you want to get there quick.
And here's the reason why tax cuts is the quickest way, because it really is not really giving them money, it's just stopping taking their money. It's taking less of their money out of the check in the first place. You don't have to redirect it back to them.
I am all for, and I think we talked about this a couple months ago here when I was on the program. I had that Kingdom of Markowski thing, and the Grand Kingdom of Markowski. It'd be much better that, you know, we spent money on improving internet access at my house, or means of making my household more efficient, where we can create more dollars. If we're just going to go spending money haphazardly in ridiculous projects, it's not going to help matters.
But what about the job creation he has outlined in this big stimulus
package? As far as the public works projects and so forth.
There's only 3% of the entire bill is going to actually go to bridges and roads. 3%. Okay. That's not a lot. Yesterday, though, I got to give a lot of kudos to Barack Obama, because he channeled his inner Reagan. Remember, he got in trouble with that Nancy Reagan seance thing a while ago? Well, he channeled his inner Reagan yesterday and was talking about, you know, the importance of businesses and the hiring and the things that they do. I think that's the direction that we need to go to, because I think most Americans, they're concerned, you know, is my job safe? Am I going to be able to get another job if I do get laid off? And these jobs need to come from the private sector, not the public sector.
Yeah, and I mean, I think obviously if you're someone who ends up getting one of these public sector jobs, obviously you're going to be happy. It's going to be good for your paycheck, or a paycheck. But the problem is that what it does to our overall economy, where does that money come from? It comes from the public sector, or the private sector.
It's taking money from one spot and putting it into another spot, and not to mention the fact that we're borrowing this money. So everybody's got to understand that, you know, they're going into our kids' bank accounts, our grandkids' bank accounts, and they're taking out $6
Morning long, we've been talking all things financial with our money guy, Mr. Chris Markowski, and the Watchdog on Wall Street is back to answer your questions.
All right, Chris, what are people buzzing about in the chat room?
They're smoking.
I know, I saw you over there.
Going crazy there today.
You know what would help if you learned how to type? That would help.
I like the one finger.
Those are the classes I did skip in high school. Those typing classes.
Fortunately for us, though, you did not skip your economics class.
Yes.
No.
What are they buzzing about in the chat room today?
A little bit of everything. Actually started off early this morning. Everybody was talking about whether or not it's the right time to buy a house or not. And I think we're going to be talking about that next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
we got that in the works. So we'll be talking a little bit about that next week, so make sure you stay tuned to that. Also talking a little bit about the stimulus package, how it's going to affect individuals. Will it work? Will it not work? And also a lot of questions in regards to how to go about allocating their personal assets. Is it a right time to invest? Is it a wrong time to invest? And it's difficult to answer these types of questions in a chat room, because I don't know these people. I don't know how many kids they have, and try to get into depth, but we try to help them as best we can.
And one of the things that you always tell people that's important when you're looking at how to invest and what to do with their personal money is to go see someone like yourself, not necessarily you can't handle all of America, but go to somebody who's an independent guy who will look at your personal situation, tell you what your best plan of attack is.
Yeah, when I first moved to Florida, actually it was like 6 years ago, one of the first things that I did, one of the most important things I did was look for a pediatrician for my child. That was very important to me. And the relationship that you have with your financial advisor, the people you work with, need to be that type of a doctor-client type of relationship. They need to ask you about your all your finances, your history, how many kids you have, what your goals and your dreams are, because financial planning is all about putting assets in the way of reaching your goals. It's really simple. It's not rocket science.
I think a lot of people want to know, when will we start to recover from all of this madness? Some people say maybe the middle of this year. Some people are saying 5 years from now.
Well, I guess it all depends on what industry. Some industries are going to change forever. They're not going to survive. That's the way it goes. I mean, when the automobile was first brought onto the landscape, oh, geez, we didn't have so many blacksmith shops. Computers up, no more typewriter factories. There's going to be a fundamental shift in this country and how we go about doing business. But, you know, it's called creative destruction. There will be good that comes out of this. The world doesn't end.